Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now here in my hands a 20,000 milliamp hour power bank. And here in my hands a 20,000 milliamp hour power bank. Clearly both of these quite different, but it's in the output where they vary. Here, this one, 15 watts of total power output. This one here, 127 watts of total power output from the people at CoolGadget.com. So CoolGadget.com is exactly that, a brand whose products are all kind of unique, different, things that are going to be gadgety, just fun, and help you get through your day, maybe EDC, maybe business office, maybe just for fun. And in today's video, we are going to look at this power bank, which is very capable, has fantastic output, and unlike any other power bank I've ever had to date, this can actually charge my laptop. And so what we're going to do, we're going to go through this in detail. I'll show you all of the detailed features. We'll put it to some practical use, and then I'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. And so with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at CoolGadget.com who did provide this for review. And so now, as we get into the 20,000 milliamp hour fast charging power bank from Cool Gadget. Absolutely unique and very interesting product for me. This is very useful and something that I can tell you I definitely need in my daily life. So as we get into this here, you can see everything coming in a well-presented package, and just again, a really neat and unique device. That is what you get with CoolGadget.com. In essence, what we have here is a 20,000 milliamp hour fast charging power bank. This has multiple ports, a USB type A and two USB type C. The case itself is a fireproof transparent polycarbonate. As we get into the specific details, each one of the ports operating a little bit different. Type C port number 1, input parameters, 5 volts, 9 volts, 12 volts, 15 volts, 3 amps. 20 volts, 5 amps. USB Type C port number 1, output parameters, 5 volts, 9 volts, 12 volts, 15 volts, 3 amps. 20 volts, 5 amps. USB Type C port number 2, output parameters, 5 volts, 9 volts, 3 amps. 12 volts, 2.25 amps. USB Type A port output, 5 volts, 4.5 amps, 9 volts, 2 amps, 12 volts, 1.5 amps. Again, total capacity, 20,000 milliamp hours, translating to 72 watt hours of power, and a total output of 127 watts maximum. And so as we get into the details here, this is pretty neat. It takes a little getting used to, and I know that sounds funny for a power bank. However, there are quite a number of features on here. So here's your sort of power button here. As we turn that on, you can see this comes to life. Now, this is going to give you a display that shows you, power in, power out. It tells you kind of which of the USB ports you're using and then what the final output is for those ports. Now, you can see down here, there are some buttons. So if I long press this button on the right, well, now we get sort of a mood light, and you can see it reacts to my voice, which is kind of cool. It's sort of unique. So if you were using this in a party scenario, you could set this up, which maybe I'll do that later. That might be kind of cool, something to do. You can see I've beat this up just a little bit, carrying it around, but not a big deal. Nice screen here. Now, as we go here, you can see we're going to change the color. So it's reacting the same way to my voice, but I'm changing the color. So as I press that middle button, again, changing the color, getting a number of different shades of yellow, blue, green, purples, sort of rainbow colors. It's pretty neat. And then you have different modes. So I can change how it actually behaves, and I can change, ooh, I like that one. That's pretty cool. So again, now I can press the color button. So now that I've changed the mode, we're going to press that color button and just finding a color that I like. So this is going to be just a fun little toy and just enhancement in different scenarios. So again, pretty cool. So we'll get this set up at some point and sort of see how it behaves in a party environment. But again, pretty neat. Kind of like the red there. And that just is in that Cool Gadget-like philosophy. Things that are different, things that are just enhancements and fun. But it's really the output of this particular power bank is where the magic happens. This thing has a 127 total watt output. Now it does peak on a particular device at 100 watts max output. So in other words, if you're powering a device, 100 watts max power. So to turn this off, you can see I long press that, and at this point that is off. We're going to take a closer look now as we charge some devices. So as that times out, you can see just pressing that back to turn on that display. This has 45% of its total battery capacity left. I did charge this to 100%, and I have been using this. Again, you can see power in and power out. So if I was to charge this, the left-hand side USB Type-C is the power in and power out. So as I get this started here, in climbing 4.60 watts. So again, you can see the input there, 4.7. So that's the input as this is charging. But in terms of output, let's just say I wanted to use a standard USB Type A. You certainly have the capabilities of doing that. And I just have this old beat up cell phone, and we're going to plug this in real quick for the demonstration. Should come to life, and you can see, yes, starting to charge. As we take a look at the display, this is putting out currently, and it's kind of bouncing around based on how the phone is reacting. So this is at 96% charged and climbing. Right now we're at, call it 5.2 to down to 4.3 watts in that particular range. And you can see here, this is leveraging the 5.0 volt, 0.8 amp output. So 0.8 amps right now coming out of the USB Type A. You can see the symbol in the middle there indicating the USB Type A. But the Cool Gadget coming with a beautiful cord. This is very nicely made. That's kind of like a bonus. Now this is the USB Type-C version. There's also the Apple Thunderbolt cable, which I will not use because I don't have Apple anything, but leveraging the USB Type-C, these are going to be a much faster charge for your devices. So plugging that in, again, going back to the cell phone. That kicks on, and you can see here the USB Type-C port 1, 9.1 volts, and then bouncing around right now 0.54 amps, putting out almost 5 watts of power. So you do have more volts and you're lower in the amps. So that would cut down potentially on the overall heat that this thing's creating. The less amperage, the less current, the less heat. So that should cut down on heat overall, I believe. And you can see here, again, just picking away here, 3.6 to call it maybe 4.05 watts that this is putting out currently. You do end up with some ports on the side and in the back to help keep this cool. So that's nice. Interesting display here where you have your circuit board that's just completely exposed, just adds intrigue. It's very unique. But where I'm completely pumped is the fact that I can actually power a computer. You'll notice that this light here does indicate blue, which is awesome. And with the computer off currently, well, you can see here, this is putting out 16.72 watts of power. It is putting out 20.1 volts at 0.83 amps. And as we turn on the machine, and I can tell you this thing is pretty much completely out of batteries, in most cases, this would not turn on at all. But in this particular case, it is coming to life, which is awesome. And you can see now 30.45 watts. It's dropping down a little bit, and it's just kind of kicking around. 20.1 volts, 1.57 amps, and climbing 2.45. 50.99 watts of power with this now running. So this thing is absolutely doing its job. Oh, and the computer now comes to life. Like I said, that is not always the case. Now I can tell you the computer's going to yell at me and tell me that it's not happy with this as a power source. What I'm also going to tell you is that's fine because it's running. It's not going to turn off. And in fact, it will be fully charged within 4.5 hours. So from that perspective, the Cool Gadget 20,000 milliamp hour power bank, absolutely fantastic. And so I have been using this quite a bit. I've used it on a number of occasions, driving around, my ability to power things up when I need to. This is something that I could absolutely put in my EDC bag. Now I will premise that by saying this is a little bit large for my typical needs. However, its capability trumps the fact that it's a large power bank. Its capability really does allow me to leverage this and save my butt when I need it. I definitely run out of batteries on my computers all the time. I can't always make it to a wall plug. So if that's the case, this could really save the day. Now it would take a little more testing and familiarity for me to be able to tell you how long can my computer run off of this, how many charges can I get out of a typical cell phone. I don't really have those data points, so that is something that I'm kind of lacking in terms of my understanding, but generally speaking, what I can tell you is this thing is awesome. Just really cool device, unique, plays a simple role, yet important and effective role in my everyday carry. So to the people at coolgadgets.com, thank you very much for providing this for review. For the rest of you, thank you so much for following along, and if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. At this point, that channel is growing quickly. I have a ton of videos up there, so if you like what you see here on Outer Limitless, do me a favor and check me out on Outer Limitless 2. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon. Soon.